And then not 10 minutes later, this girl calls me and she's like yelling on the phone. And she's like, I need you to do this, this, and this. And I was like, hold up, who are you? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to work with somebody that talks to me like that. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not your agent. Goodbye. And she was like, wait, please give me another chance. I was like, no, click, done.
Lucky 13, that's what this episode is. So if you're superstitious, turn it off now. If you're bold and adventurous, well, you came to the right place. Keep on listening. And
you're such a dork.
I don't know. I'm just proud of myself that I never think about how to open this podcast, really. Like, I just whatever the first thing that comes to mind is what comes out, and that's just the way it is. And whatever, we'll keep it real.
Yeah.
It's good to have you guys with us again. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you have been around a while, a special welcome back, especially to those. This is one of those good morning to everybody except those who haven't left 5-star reviews on the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or have subscribed to the YouTube channel. So hit that subscription button. And if you want to join the party, you can become a tactical agent for free. You can just join the group. Go to tacticalagents.com to get your invite, and inside you'll get a copy of our free book. All sorts of other value-added content on the regular. And one day maybe you'll work with us. Maybe you won't, but hopefully we add value along the way. So there's our self-made commercial. And today we're going to be talking about our ideal clients. And at the risk of self-adulation, I'm going to read a quote. And I think you wrote this, Mr. Fisher. I think these are your words. It says this: you can actually decide with whom you want to work. You are not obligated to work with stressful, unrealistic, or ungrateful people. If you define your ideal client, you'll be way more likely to attract them. Sounds good, doesn't it? As crazy as it may seem, traditional agents are not taught to take the time to think about this. They are conditioned to believe the opposite. They are convinced to try to appeal to everyone and collect every potential client that comes their way. It begins with cold calling, door knocking, and prospecting with strangers. In our digital age, agents are often convinced that they must pay for lead generation to try to attract anyone with a high enough credit score and account balance to buy a house. The hope is that they eke out enough commission to somehow justify in their minds that real estate school was worth it. What was going through your mind when you wrote those words?
Yeah. I think I may have just had to fire a client or something. So I was pumping myself up for why I was walking away from. So right around the time I was writing that, I walked away from 1.4 million in volume on 2 different clients in the same day. So
wow.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I was thinking about when I was writing that quote.
Yeah, that's to the tune of what, 45 grand or ish?
Yeah, thereabouts. It was pretty close to that, 40, 45, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big decision when you say no to 40 grand.
Yeah, so the first guy was the bigger one. He was buying about 750, and he had just lost out on a deal and nearly lost his earnest money and made me look like a complete jackass because he was working with one of those lenders that appeals to military people to tell them they have their best interests at heart, but they really don't.
Right.
And then he was working with that guy, and the guy just screwed him. And I was telling him the whole time, like, dude, you're not qualified to buy this house. Well, he says I am. I'm telling you, you're not. And he bought it or put it on a contract on it, and it falls apart like the final day. Like we're walking to the closing table, and they're like, "Oh, you're actually not qualified to buy this house. Sorry."
Oh,
and he loses all his earnest money and everything. And I put him in touch with my guy. My guy's like, "This is what you need to do to fix all this, and maybe you can qualify for the next one." So he calls me 2 weeks later, and he's like, "Hey, I'm good to go now. I'm still going to go back to this guy." I'm like, "You're going to go back to this guy that lost you all this money?" "Yeah, but he's going to save me money on my interest rate. He's going to save him like an eighth or something." And I was like, "He's already cost you more than that. Like, what are you talking about, dude?" I was like, "Look, my reputation's too important. I can't work with this guy." And he was like, "Well, if you can't work with him, like, I don't know what to do. I said, I'm just going to tell you this, man, you need to find another agent, right? Because we're not a good fit for each other. And he got real quiet, and he was like, man, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm really sure. And then not 10 minutes later, this girl calls me, and she's like yelling on the phone, and she's like, I need you to do this, this, and this. And I was like, hold up, who are you? Like, she was this client that had reached out to me a couple months ago. I was sending her some stuff. We hadn't ever met in person, and she was flying into town the next day. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to work with somebody that talks to me like that. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not your agent. Goodbye. And she was like, wait, please give me another chance. I was like, no, click, done. And, I was in the zone that day. So, but that's, those two things were at the forefront of my mind when I was thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think the part that I'd like to key into is that traditional agents are not taught time to think about this, right? They think about, it goes back to like the sales mentality, right? If you can try to go chase, people, or you can invite people in to what it is that you do, how you can help them. I think there's two very, very vastly different approaches or different directions. And if you're chasing a sale, then the people are incidental to it, right? If the purpose is the commission check, well, then whoever you got to go through to get it, you kind of deal with it. And I see agents all the time, and because if you're a real estate agent, or if you're in the lending business and you're around agents or MLOs, whatever, it could be a very negative group of people, complaining about their clients all the time. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have that problem, really, because I don't work with clients that make me feel that way. Because my goal is to help people that I'm a good fit with, and not to just get a commission check. The check is the result of doing what I ought to do, which is to help this person or this family in this move. That's the goal, and the result is the commission check. It's not the goal. And so if my goal is to make sure that I can do that for somebody, I want to make sure that I'm a good fit for them. And if I'm not a good fit, I avoid that problem from the outset. Mm-hmm. And most agents do not have, they've got listing presentations. Oh yeah. They've got first-time home buyer packets. Heck yeah. Shiny, fresh off the Office Max press, whatever, right? They've got it. But so they're selling themselves. They're selling their service, their value add, whatever. But they never stop to ask. All they want that person to do is sign that listing agreement, sign that buyer's agency agreement, and they never stop to ask themselves, or is this person a good fit for me? Or am I a good fit for them? Right? That question is really, really important to actually work with your ideal clients. But we never pause to think about that. And the reason you're not pausing is because your goal is misplaced. It's sales driven, it's commission driven, not people driven.
I have to make a confession. The first time that I taught a class on social media for real estate agents, it was probably 10 or 15 people. And, they came to me because at the time, I was running a few 100,000 followers on whatever social media. And, I was teaching this class, and I'd been getting, I was at a brokerage that starts with a K and ends with a W, and I was doing all the traditional things, right? And I don't mean anything negative about that. Like, I really enjoyed my time there. I worked with some really great people, but I was doing all the traditional things. And I was sitting there, and I was telling these group of people, listen, when you get on your social media, you can't talk about religion, you can't talk about politics, don't talk about current events, like, keep everything PG, make sure you appeal to everybody, not just, certain people, and you want to attract as many people as you possibly can. And dude, I legitimately lose sleep about telling people that,
Yeah.
7 years later, I'm like, why did I tell them that? Why? And, so if you were in that class, that is all bullshit. And you should be who you are on social media. How about that?
That's a great point, because I think we stress ourselves out when it comes to our clients because we're humans. We're not chameleons. It's like, yeah, you can adapt a little bit, but dude, when you're trying to be everything to everybody, what a tremendous amount of pressure you're putting on yourself with how you speak or how you carry yourself around this. I sent you a text today. I posted on Facebook something that would be considered controversial. Right? It's anti-woke.
Big shocker.
I'll say that. On my personal Facebook, Mike Edwards, look me up. If you see a bald guy with his granddaughter climbing on his head, that's me. And I said something that would be considered controversial in modern cultural circles. And somebody from our broker's office commented back how disheartening it was. And I didn't back off of that. I was like, I just doubled down. I'm like, because I'm me. I don't care who you are. I don't care your status, your money, your whatever, doesn't matter. I gotta be me. And that takes a tremendous amount of stress off, because guess who sends me the DM on Facebook when they're ready to list, or they want to buy, or their friends have something to buy, and they know who I am as a person.
Right.
Now because I'm being me, I don't have to worry about that, because I will attract the people that are drawn to me for being me.
Exactly.
The other thing is, I don't think we spend enough time asking ourselves, who is our ideal client? We don't create sort of to use industry language, an avatar. We don't define what that is. Again, because your mindset in the traditional way is it's all about closing the deal. It's all about getting that check. It's all about the number of transactions, whatever. And the client is a means to an end. When you realize how important enjoying what you do is, well, the client becomes a big deal. The client becomes everything, because I want to enjoy going to show houses. I want to enjoy sitting at the closing table. I don't want to feel stressed out. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want to enjoy doing this. I want to feel like when I come home at the end of the day, man, what a great day. I had coffee with so-and-so, went and showed houses with these people, had lunch with so-and-so, went out and did, met these people who want to sell their house, and I had a great conversation and, learned this about, these people that I never knew or whatever. I can sit down on the couch the other night and enjoy my evening because my day felt good, and that's, most real estate agents hear that and they're like, yeah, what kind of dream world do you live in? I'm like, I just live in the world that, like we talked about last week, the discipline of the right approach has created for me.
Yeah. Well, you live in the world you built,
Mm-hmm.
It's all, and that's what all this is. That's what all the tactical agent is building a business that is built in a way that you work with people like, and trust. And if like, and trust someone, I can tell you unequivocally now, if you are my client, if we have worked together any time in the last 5 years and I've helped you buy or sell, I like you. Because if I didn't, we would not be working together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I made that shift in my business, complete game changer. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it more. I like being around the people, like you said, going to closings and you feel genuinely happy for somebody because they're a good person and you like being around them, and you're like, hey, we did this together and you got this house, or we got you all the money you needed to sell your house or whatever. And it's so much more fulfilling and so much more rewarding. And the money aside, yeah, you make good money too, but that's just a small part of it.
Yeah. It's so important for you to know who it is that you want to work with. And it really comes down to character. I mean, it's yes, of course, some people are like, well, I want to be more in the luxury market or whatever else. Okay, great. Identifying your target market is definitely valuable. We have a process in our system for that. for that. That's a good starting point, knowing what's my market. But you're not going to get anything in your market without people. And so you really need to think about, who is my ideal client? What are they like? What kind of work do they do? Are they serious people? Are they lighthearted people? Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, because it's not my ideal, it's yours. But if you don't take the time to identify who that is, well, how are you going to reach it? You got to have a target to aim at, right? And it's sometimes people are wolves in sheep's clothing, and you think, yeah, this will be a good fit for me, and then, whoa, where did this come from? This was not.
I was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong, and that's okay to fire clients too, or whatever. But or deal with some of the stress, because it kind of comes to the territory sometimes. Yes, of course, but you're more apt to hit the target when you define it. And when you know who, then once you define what your ideal client is like, who they are, then you can start asking yourself, okay, well, how do I reach them? Where are they at, and how do I get to them? Right? For me, like one of my I guess wish list, my full ideal client is going to be a business owner, heavy family person, heavy faith person with a good sense of humor. If I have that, that's like, man, I'm having my cake and eating it. Like it's the ideal. So I have to start asking myself, if fellow business owners that meet that criteria are my ideal, I look at my calendar and I'm like, well, how many business owners am I taking to coffee this week? How many business owners have I invited to an event or to my house or whatever? How many business owners am I connecting with? Because if all of a sudden I'm like, well, man, I'm just so frustrated in my business, and I look at my 6 current active clients and none of them are business owners, but yet I've said that my ideal is a business owner, well, there's a disconnect there. So it doesn't mean that those people are less valuable as people. It just means, well, no wonder I might be more stressed, because I'm not spending the time in my day-to-day of my real estate business with the people that I'm a best fit for.
Right.
And it's
that's
pretty simple.
It really is. Like, and you'll hear me say this all the time. Real estate's a simple business. It's not necessarily easy, but it's simple.
You ain't kidding. We overcomplicate it. It's a weird dynamic in this traditional real estate world where a broker sets up an office, but what they do is they make it like a faux corporate environment where it's like, I'm the broker, so I'm the boss, and you work for me, even though you're 1099 and it's really your business, but you work for me and you work your way up the ladder. And it's like, well, what? None of that's true. None of that's like even the way that this is structured legally, let alone practically. What are we doing to ourselves here?
My favorite are the ones that they're like, well, does your lawyer give you a closing gift? Well, no, but I didn't go to law school for 8 years. Like I'm just a dude who, let's be honest.
I did a 40-hour online course, bro.
Let's be honest about what real estate is, okay? It is not comparable to surgeon or lawyer. Yeah, we make really good money when we do it the right way. Sometimes you can even make a lot more than those guys can. But you make your money because of your relationships. And that's the truth of the matter. So build those relationships and don't listen to the idiot real estate agents who say things like, well, my dentist doesn't call me on my birthday. Oh, okay. You're not a dentist either, bud. Like, come on.
And besides the fact that, which dentist, if I had an option of 3 dentists and one did actually called me, my dentist has called me. Like literally like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm just checking in. I know we saw you a couple weeks ago. Just want to make sure everything's cool. Right? I'm sure it's part of their workflow, which is great, but it's personal. He's calling me. And if I have the choice of 3 dentists, who am I going to go to? Am I going to go to the guy that actually gave me a gift or called me or interacts with me? Or am I going to go with the one that does nothing? Right. So even if a lawyer did that,
Yeah.
Dude, I just paid a lawyer $2,000 to deal with a problem that I'm having. If I would love that lawyer to give me a gift, a Chick-fil-A gift card or something, man. Like, you know,
I just had this vision of a lawyer showing up to your divorce proceedings with a bottle of bourbon and some a gift card for Tinder or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Step by step to creating an OnlyFans or something. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, you know, so give some thought to this. If you've been stressed out and you found yourself, even if it's like 25% of the time you're with clients that you don't want to be with, maybe there's some reasons behind that. Maybe you haven't given it enough thought. And if you want more information on that, you want to get clarification, we're totally here to answer those kinds of questions. We just do it inside our Facebook group. Go to tacticalagents.com, grab the invite, get in there, ask any questions you want, and I'm sure that we'll be able to help you in your business some way. So with that, until next time, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel before you leave. We'll see you next episode.